Welcome to Paradigms at paradigms.life, the radio show and podcast that brings you inspiring people with visions of a viable future for life on Earth that includes humans. Hi, I'm Baruch, host of the show. Thanks for tuning in. I think you're going to enjoy my guest. She's a folk artist, musician, songwriter, poet, activist. She has some interesting stuff to say. The music is really wonderful and personal and political and interesting. I think you're going to enjoy it. She's got a new record out, and she's going to tell us about that and a bit of her personal journey. So let's get to it and meet my guest on this episode of Paradigms. Janice Jo Lee, welcome to Paradigms.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited to talk with you about your journey and your music, just starting with your song, Here I Am, which I love. But before we even talk about the music, I just would love to learn a bit about you as a person, how you came to become a musician and to be writing these songs and your mission.
Well, it all started in downtown Toronto, the day I was born. So I'm a second generation Canadian settler. My parents are immigrants from South Korea. And we know that I'm the 27th generation in my family. Like, we have a whole book of our ancestors, which is a real blessing because a lot of people don't know their roots, you know? So when I grew up in church choir, hating my piano lessons, wanting to be a soccer player. I went to university for English literature and political science. And really that education, I use it today in my practice as a political folk singer and spoken word poet. But, when I went to university, Baruch, I didn't know you could study music in university. Like, that's how much I was pushed into academics. And it was when I was in university that I was in the musical theater club, but then I found, some of the stories were just lacking. I was like, why? There was kind of no purpose to the musicals. Like, they were just for entertainment. And so I had friends in music, and then I had friends in global studies who were like more activists. And a bunch of us started this choir called the Radical Choir. And so it was a social and environmental justice choir where we'd sing at different events on campus and in the community. We were a collective. We would teach each other how to sing the harmonies. And we started writing our own songs as well. And that's where I really began my practice as a folk musician, leading sing-alongs, teaching people on the spot how to sing a part, and really being embedded in the community. And so that's how I became a songwriter.
I love it. And I love it that you refer to what you're doing as a practice, because that is such a deeply storied word that speaks to our well-being on a deep, deep level.
Because, I've been thinking a lot about what folk music is. A lot of people, when they see me, they see like this cute Asian girl and don't expect me to be a folk musician. Because, like, I don't know, Baruch, I'm not a white guy with a beard and a banjo, okay? And so it's an interesting thing because there's this assumption or stereotype of what is a folk musician. But to me, it's not a look or an instrumentation even. As we said, it's a practice. So I've been really nailing it down to, I think folk music is listening. Like, when you go to a folk music concert, people are listening. They want to know what the story is about. They want to hear the lyrics. And the folk musician who's the songwriter is also a listener, in that you pay attention to the world and the times. I think it's our responsibility to capture those stories poetically through song and share them with the people so we can see ourselves. So that's really how I have been conceptualizing what is folk music.
The artist as mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really part of what I like to focus on too. I mean, I talk with lots of artists and I love hearing about what it is people care about and why they're doing what they do and why it matters. The intentions with which we approach our lives is the point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start out just by talking about Here I Am, and then I want to hear more about your activism and your other songs. But it's like a personal anthem.
I really wanted an opening song that was like a pump up tune that everyone would just clap along and stomp along to. I wrote it because I wanted to start my show like a cappella, just clapping, and get everyone to right away start singing along. So it's meant to be a call and answer, like, here I am, here I am, here I am, you, here I am, here I am, here I am. Definitely this message of declaration of taking up space is something I'm constantly doing, because women in general are taught to be small. We're taught to apologize for taking up space. So the piece is about being excited and celebratory about taking up space and about being loud. So it is correctly, as he's called it, an anthem. And then like we have this funky bass and we have got trumpets, and it's a dance party. You know, it's kind of like a street party vibe.
I'm talking with Janice Jo Lee, and she's just been telling us about her new record, Ancestor Song. We're going to hear one of the tracks right now that we were just discussing. It's called Here I Am. Janice Jo Lee on Paradigms at paradigms.life.
Here I stand. Total command, yeah. Oh, I got a plan. Gotta spit the truth, gotta be fearless, gotta fight to survive, find joy in my life. Gotta spit the truth, gotta be fearless, gotta fight to survive, find joy in my life. Here I am. Here I stand. Total command, yeah. Oh, I got a plan. This is a song about taking up space when you've been taught your whole life to be small and quiet. This is a song about placing myself in the center, under the lights, down stage in the center. Why? Because this is where I belong. Oh, radical, I am buried deep within the sand. From my core I understand. Listen to the land. My ancestors passed on this blood, this voice, this song, and someone carry on till freedom, here we come. Here I am. eyes at me. Please say something, I can't speak. My sailor's voice has crumbled into sand. Look past your lips, I swear I can. Floating out at Uruland, anchor me, oh grab my hand. I am a cloud, 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 cloud. How, how, how? Hold me on the ocean, destroy me on the ocean, clandestinely tonight, moonlight tide. Riding the waves of heartbreak, but I'm not jumping off, no way. Riding the waves to heartbreak, but I'm not jumping off, no way. Riding the waves to heartbreak, but I'm not jumping off. I'd rather crash, 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 crash on my ass. Ride the wave to ruin anything. Anything can happen. Ride the wave to ruin anything. Anything can happen. Ride the wave to ruin anything. Anything can happen. Ride the wave to ruin anything. Anything can happen. Hold me on the ocean, destroy me on the ocean, clandestinely tonight, moonlight
Janice Jo Lee from her new record Ancestor Song. We just heard two tracks, Moonlight Tide, and before that, Here I Am. And now we're going to return to my conversation with Janice Jo Lee, learn some more about her work in the world. What are the things that I'm afraid to even use the word, say, what woke you to certain things?
Sure.
But what did?
I ask this question a lot when we have conversations about like diversity and anti-racism. When did I first notice race? And for me, it was when I was a child. Of course, it's when you were a child. When I was in kindergarten and I was at the water fountain, just getting a drink of water, and this boy pushed me out of the way and said, "Move it, Chinese girl," and took the water fountain away from me. And in that moment, I knew that I was being bullied because this kid thought I was Chinese. And so my comeback to that in the moment was, "I'm not Chinese, I'm Korean," which isn't particularly helpful, but I was like, at least get it right if you're being racist, I suppose. So early on, we realized that you're being othered or you're being excluded or bullied for some reason. So, racialized people are people who are visibly different from like what is culturally the norm in Canada and the United States, like being just a white person. You find out early on that you're different, right? And so even though I'm born in Canada, I'm still not seen as Canadian. I'm seen as Korean-Canadian, right? Because the assumption is a Canadian person is a white person. Even though some of the very first settlers in Canada were Chinese railway workers, let's say. So yeah, growing up, you have this knowledge already of being racialized. And then I went to university in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is like a small medium town 2 hours outside of Toronto. After having grown up in Toronto, which is so multicultural and diverse, and then moving to Kitchener-Waterloo, which was majority white, quite conservative, I noticed suddenly again how unusual it was to be a queer Asian person. You end up becoming an activist just because you are advocating for your dignity. Like, you can't treat me like this. I want to be treated with respect, just like all the other people in this room. And then so by default, you become an activist, like an advocate for yourself. And then when you see other people being treated badly as well, then you stand up for them as well, and then you become an activist. So when you live in a place where the oppression is just built into the systems, built into the culture, you kind of have no choice but to advocate for your own dignity, especially if you're someone like me who like will not tolerate nonsense, will not tolerate bad behavior. Like if my friend's like, oh my goodness, this person said this to me, I'm like, who is it? Where are they? Where are they? Let me talk to them. You know, like I move towards the fire, towards conflict, which is, I think, it's very un-Canadian actually, because Canadians prefer to, when we say be polite, we mean don't disturb the peace. And peacekeeping as a Canadian culture is a real thing, because we'd rather keep the peace than address the injustice in the room. I think it's a kind of something we've inherited from British culture.
We'll be back with more conversation. Here's a song from Janice Jo Lee's album, Sing Hey. This one's called All the Times You Were Silent.
Strong and always get your way. So educated, so undulating, so sure what to do. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Maybe it's you who needs help. Step back when somebody else has the floor. Step back when nobody asked you for more. Step back when you're taking up too much space. You know you can step back. Hey, step back. My friend, you know, the struggle is a struggle. My friend, you know, we will move together. My friend, you know, the struggle is a struggle. My friend, you know, we will move together. My friend, you know, the struggle is a struggle. My friend, you know, we will move together. My friend, you know, the struggle is a struggle. My friend, you know, we will move together. My friend, you know, the struggle is a struggle. My friend, you know, we will move together. My friend, you know, the struggle is...
All the Times You Were Silent, Janice Jo Lee, from her album Sing Hey. And now here's some more of my conversation with Janice Jo Lee.
You clearly are a person who has heart and soul and guts and a voice, and you're using it, and this is fantastic. But I'm sure you've met opposition. I'm sure you've run into people who don't understand or aren't open to what you're offering. How do you deal with that?
Yes, for many years I dealt with it very badly. I have so much experience now of how to fail in having these conversations that I think I know now better what to expect and how to, I have better strategy. So for example, when you are, let's say you're calling out a man for the first time on his male privilege, or you're calling out a white person for the first time on their white privilege. And if it's someone who isn't having these conversations on the regular because they don't have people around them who have different views than them, you know, usually we're comfortable in our lives because we're surrounded by people who have the same values and practices as us. Right. So then when you meet someone who's different than you and they challenge you, it's shocking. So you may know the concept, Baruch, of white tears. Mm-hmm. You may point out something that white person has done that is, you know, inherently racist. And it's oftentimes just ignorance. So it's kind of like a learning opportunity, a teachable moment, but it's not received that way. It's received as a personal attack. People are like, you are calling me a bad person. And we get defensive and we get angry because we feel like our dignity is being questioned, right? And so I have many experiences of like people cornering me after shows or sending me long emails or putting up their hand in a question and answer and challenging me, or like having basically a breakdown because they're very upset about talking about race or sexism, what have you. And what I've learned is that that is the necessary first step for anyone who is entering the movement, as I call it, or becoming an activist. Like the beginning of the journey of becoming an activist is denial. It's like you don't want to accept that the world that you have been living in is oppressive. Or like you don't want to accept that the practices of the way you've been living your life is racist or has privilege. It's hard. It's like an affront on your dignity, as I said. So I've come to expect that it will go badly the first conversation, to expect white tears, or for a man to like lose their temper in having a conversation. Cry out, be angry is part of your first step. And so it doesn't make me as upset either. Whereas usually it would destroy me. It would destroy me. Like someone I respected comes up to me, and like I've had theater elders come up to me and like stomp on me by saying that what I'm calling out is incorrect. And it's soul crushing when it's people that you admire. The perspective of some years of experience now is like, oh, that was them at the beginning of their journey. So it gives me more compassion to understand and not get as upset.
You know, that makes me think about the stages of grief, and that the first stage of grief is denial, and that confronting one's privilege and one's role in society often means the death of the way we saw ourselves, and letting go of how we've perceived and acknowledging our attachment to how we've perceived. So this is very interesting to me.
You got it, Baruch. I actually, in my anti-racism workshops, put up the stages of grief. And you already know. And denial, bargaining, maybe if I had said this, maybe if I said that, maybe I've had this life experience, anger. The biggest one is anger, fear, right? That's usually the most visible one that we're always dealing with. The biggest thing for me to have compassion while I do this work is understanding that anger is like, it comes from fear. And because why that's been such a key thing for me is that I don't really have a fear instinct. It's something in me as a child, like I had to stand up to my brother really early on, like when I was 3 years old. Like I said earlier, like I'm always fighting, I'm always going towards the conflict. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's a little reckless. Like I've definitely like fought with, once I got mugged after a concert and I was like fighting with the thieves and I was like, that was probably a bad idea. Like maybe I could have got stabbed,
Yeah, but still admirable.
Sure, yeah, and definitely unexpected. Yeah, because I don't have a fear instinct, it's been a big thing for me to learn, this person is losing their temper and crying because they're afraid. Their reality has just been shattered and it's hard for them.
And I can say for myself in my own journey of learning, and I think I've told this story on the show before, but when I was in college, they gave me a female roommate who had an ambiguous name. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, well, that's fine. It was Goddard College, very experimental. But I remember one day she said, hey, I want to use our room for a women's group and I want you to not be here. And I had a huge reaction to that. I felt my feelings were hurt. And she educated me, and I have been forever grateful for that teaching from that woman named Jamie and so many other women, especially who have taught me about male privilege. My mother taught me about white privilege, and then the world taught me about queer not privilege. Mm-hmm. So it's true that when we're confronted with a belief that we have that we don't even know we have, it's hard. Mm-hmm. But if you stay with it, if you're willing to learn from the experience, then the world actually opens up.
Yeah. And you're telling me that it was your mom or Jamie, your roommate, who taught you. And that's the key, like it's relationships. People who actually love you and that you love as well have to be involved in like building a bridge. Because we only listen to the person when we feel like they respect us and they trust us and we trust each other. That's why it's like I advise people never to engage with an angry stranger on the street. There's no point. There's no relationship there, right? Don't waste your time. But if it's someone close to you, like a family member or a friend, it's something you're definitely going to want to invest in because you don't want to just dispose of that relationship entirely.
We'll be back with more of Janice Jo Lee after we hear another track from her Sing Hey album. This one's called Come On Over. This is Paradigms at paradigms.life.
Sitting on the porch on a lazy afternoon with my lemonade, waiting to hear from you. What will I do today? Well, it don't matter really. Just wanna be with you, dearie. Wanna stop feeling weary. So come on over. Come on over, baby, yeah. I can picture you cycling up the lane in your cargo shorts and tall and sturdy frame. And I know you'll smile at me in the same way as the first stage when we canoed under the moon down the Grand River. So come on over, baby. Come on over, darling. I was sitting here waiting for you. All the things that we could do. But it don't matter really. Just wanna be with you, dearie. Wanna stop feeling weary. So come on over. Come on over, baby. come on over, darling. I was sitting here waiting for you. All the things that we could do, but it don't matter really. Just wanna be with you, dearie. Wanna stop feeling weary. So come on over. Come on over, baby.
Come on over, Janice Jo Lee. And now here's the next part of my conversation with Janice.
I want to talk about my song Crumpled Heart Unfolding, which is right in the middle of the album because it kind of functions as an Act 1 finale. I kind of conceptualize my album as a musical. The full concert would be the band and dancers, and that's why it opens with an overture as well, like a musical or an opera. And so Crumpled Heart Unfolding is the Act 1 finale, which is the biggest song, the most harmonies, the most parts all layered together. And I've been calling it my Bohemian Rhapsody in the sense that there's like a few movements that happen in it. And it's a song about a burnout, when your heart has been so crushed that it's been like squished into like a crumpled paper. And you're still alive, Baruch, right? Like the heart is still in you, but you're completely deflated. And so what is that process of healing or repair? And for me, that was like silence and stillness. Like, don't do 1,000 things. Just stay home, eat food, walk the dog, take a bath, and like reconnect with my thoughts and myself. Like just the basics of taking care of myself helped me return or like recenter. And then from there, I was able to kind of reinflate my whole soul. But yeah, it had to be grown back very slowly. Because I think capitalism just wants us to work and not know what we feel and not take care of ourselves. So it actually becomes this very radical thing to rest. And I'm really proud of this song too.
I was having a conversation with someone today about permaculture and how more and more people in the world are not working for money, but working for the land and working for actual sustainability of life on the planet, which is, I think, like the most anti-capitalist thing you can do. And we have to transition our human lives to this en masse.
Totally.
And it's gradual. And I think what you're saying about the burnout, we have to have ways to address that in order to do this thing. We can't go into that when we're wrecked.
And when we do, we damage ourselves and we damage the people around us, right? And that's often the case, is people are not well, but still doing work in the community. And that's kind of how our culture is set up.
Well, also, it's like, okay, well, you can be an activist, but you still got to have your job on the hamster wheel so you can feed yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's not fair. Why isn't it fair? Oh, it was designed that way? Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's that thing they tell children. Life isn't fair. Get used to it. It's like, wait a minute. What if we change the story to, we are working to create a world of fairness and justice?
Here.
You know, what does it take to get there?
Mm-hmm. Life isn't fair, but we're working on it, and we need you to help as well. Something like that.
You know, I did an episode a few weeks ago with 4 wonderful panelists, and one of them is Starhawk, who you probably have heard of. She's a wonderful permaculture teacher, but activist, and has been doing this work for a long time. And she was talking about how, you know, you don't approach people by saying, you're part of the problem, fix yourself. You approach people by saying, we have problems and you have an important role in helping us fix them. Mm-hmm. Because everyone can.
I like that perspective too. It makes me think of like bringing people into the circle as opposed to shutting them out. I really like this phrasing of movement building, right? We collect people into the movement and we have to, so much of it is education, because when you alienate someone or antagonize them, we lose them, right? And everyone starts from ignorance. Like, that's why we have education. Everyone starts from ignorance. And I feel like, because it's so easy for us to be mad at the ignorant. But it's like, if they didn't have access to the information, how can you blame them?
We'll be back with the final part of my conversation with Janice Jo Lee after we hear a couple more songs from her new record, Ancestor Song. Here's the song Janice was just talking about, Crumpled Heart Unfolding.
There is a child inside of you. He doesn't know what to do. Looking out the window pane, could go out, play in the rain. Other kids are running round, screaming out and playing loud. He could fall down and bruise a knee, but tears do dry eventually. Stay in and read, close the blinds, keep it warm and keep it dry. He builds a world inside his head, adventure sitting on his bed. A child inside your voice, he sure can sing and rejoice. So many years of holding in, how can he know where to begin? I wish he would come outside. I wish he would come outside. I've knocked so many times. I've knocked so many times. I take umbrellas nowadays, yet still I dream in vain. He could have been my friend. Can't let go in the end.
That one's called Child Inside, very personal. Before that, Crumpled Heart Unfolding. These are from Janice Jo Lee's new record, Ancestor Song. And now here's the final part of my conversation with Janice Jo Lee.
When we get angry at other people around their ignorance, there's always an element of projection in that, because we have to look at our own. It always comes back to, I have to look at my own.
There's a kind of projection. Oh, because it makes us think. It makes us think about the things that we're ignorant about still. Yeah.
Right. Because if I just say, well, you're ignorant and that you're the problem because of that, then I'm just taking this one-up position.
Oh, kind of scapegoating.
Right. And it's actually not empowering anyone, including me.
No, I guess not. True.
I'm not saying that because I've got this down. I'm still working on it too. But I notice that when I approach people more with, hey, did you know about this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this? That's a whole lot more effective. And the potential for dialogue is greater than when I just come at people and say, you this, you that.
Totally.
Too alienating. Tell us about another song.
Okay, how about you can play one of the unreleased tunes, Ancestor Song.
Oh, great.
Which is the title track. And I'll tell you about the album concept as a whole. As I was talking about earlier, that silence and stillness that I needed to recover from like just doing too much activist work in the community. It was in allowing myself to be quiet that I could actually know what my feelings were. And when I allowed there to be silence too, I could allow a melody to emerge. And my songwriting process has often been like, there's a stew. There's like a crock pot in my mind of all my experiences and thoughts and feelings that go in there. And then finally, when I have a quiet moment, I just like dip a ladle in there and pour it out. And a melody just like pours out of my mouth. It's amazing. Sometimes when it happens, I sing something, I'm like, wow, I don't feel like that's even me. And these ancestor songs are all songs I feel are melodies that were given to me by my ancestors. So like no one in my family has been a career musician. A lot of people in my family have the gift of music, like can sing or have rhythm, but I'm the first to really be able to pursue it. So I have found that it's my bio myth that it's my responsibility to share these songs and melodies. Because when we think of music as a gift, right? Because like some people have pitch and rhythm and some people have a really hard time with it and need to learn it, right? So for some folks, it's really natural. And for me, it comes really naturally. And I really do feel that, well, and biologically, my voice box is DNA that I have inherited, right? And so Ancestor Song, the piece, the track is an origin story about, it kind of starts in Plato's cave, actually. We're talking about ignorance. Like if you're a bird living in a cave and that you've known that your whole life, that's the only world you know. You don't know that the world exists. Once you find the door and exit the cave and you discover there's a sky and a whole world, and you're like, oh my goodness, I can fly even more. You discover what kind of ability you have. Because we kind of can only know within our confines, right? It's kind of a comment on like a glass ceiling as well. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the bird imagery is a very old and many oft used metaphor for women, like a bird in a cage, right? So it's an origin song about discovering what I am capable of. And only when I allow myself to enter into new spaces or more open spaces that I discover I can do even more things. So it's a big, long, extended metaphor song about a bird. And it's really funky. And there's a lot of scatting. The chorus is this scatting melody, and you can really hear my Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald influences, I think.
I'm so glad that we get to have this conversation. I've been looking forward to it for months, and it totally lived up to any expectations I could have had. Your music is really wonderful, and what you're bringing through it is so powerful. And so the good food, it's the nourishing stuff that we need.
Thank you so much. This has been a fun conversation.
Yes, I really appreciate it. Please keep me posted about your projects and come back on the show with the next one.
Okay, I will.
Janice Jo Lee, thank you so much for the conversation and the music and the consciousness that you bring to the music. Art for the sake of inspiring and learning and healing our society, ourselves. Really enjoyed talking with Janice, enjoyed the music. I was especially pleased with and continue to learn from people talking about, and Janice is talking about, how do we approach people with whom we have big disagreements. I'm by far not perfect at it, but I do think that if we recognize that most people's anger comes out of fear, if we can acknowledge and address the fear, maybe we can get through the anger to really finding common ground. Seems like we've got to find common ground as humans in order to make the choices that are going to allow us to sustain ourselves as a world. You know, it's been super, super hot this week. It's the middle of July. Climate change is clearly in full swing. Whatever people believe about why, there's no question that it's heating up. The world is heating up. So how do we address this? We're all in it together. We all live in this biosphere together. Whatever our ideology or beliefs or whatever, we're in this together. So how do we change what we're doing to make it better? It's got to be doable. Important questions for us all to address within ourselves and together. And I think what Janice Jo Lee is doing is bringing awareness to us to help with that. So thank you, Janice. You can check her out at her website, janicejolee.ca, JANICEJOLEE.ca. Check out her new record, Ancestor Song, and her previous albums. I think you'll find inspiration there. And if you enjoyed this episode of Paradigms, I hope you'll check out the Paradigms website, paradigms.life. It's also at paradigmspodcast.com, if that's easier to remember, or wherever else you find your podcasts. I'm going to leave you with another track from Janice's new record. It's the title track, Ancestor Song. I love what she said about her voice box being something she got from her ancestors, her voice, her musical ability, in part coming through her ancestors. That's true for all of us. Our talents, our gifts, our awarenesses come through the genetic apparatus our ancestors bequeathed to us. We stand on their shoulders, and the next generations will stand on ours if we make the right choices. So as we head out of this episode, let the word for the week be ancestors. Let's really notice what we inherited from our ancestors. You, from your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. How are they part of our lives? And what do we want to carry forward? All right. Baruch signing off for this episode of Paradigms. We'll be back next time with more inspiring people. And in the meantime, let us be aware of what we've inherited and what we're carrying forward. And be well.
Do you remember you lived in a cave? You thought you knew the world, its crevices and its curves. Do you remember learning of the roof, growing little girls swiftly flying birds? Do you remember discovering your voice, hollow belly drum winding on your tongue, Do you remember turning breath into sound, a litany of tones, melodies your own? Oh, how sound echoes, waves off of walls. Never was a cage, it was holding empty stage. Oh, the earth, the glorious, oh, the earth, a symphony, a chorus. Listening the land and still bouncing back, back. Do you remember it? Feeling your first ever breeze led you to a door unknown to you.
earth a glorious, oh the earth a symphony, a chorus. Oh the earth a glorious, oh the earth a symphony, a chorus. Oh the earth a glorious, oh the earth a symphony, a chorus. Be sure to remember after this life, when body turns to earth, melody survive. Listen and listen, have you heard? Inside you is a bird. Remember, carry your heart. Remember, carry your heart. Ancestor
You've been listening to Paradigms at paradigms.life.